I don't think. Oh, we are recording. Hey, everybody. Welcome to another edition of the Corporate Underground. Today, we have our special guest, Renée Giarrusso, the Italian mafioso. We did see that your grandfather used to make shoes all those years ago, which was fascinating. So, Renée, the first part of this is to tell us a little bit about yourself and the audience to get to know who you are. Now, I know you are a voracious content producer and an ideas person. You know, you are always popping different ideas. You create multiple books, you create multiple programs, but let's kind of dive into who you are as a person.
Yes. So I create content. No, I'm just kidding. So as a person, I guess my nickname's Popcorn. So very energetic. I love life. And my favorite 4 things are people, connection, food, and shoes. So and they're all linked. And as you mentioned, Ronan, my grandfather in Italy in the early 40s was a very prestigious shoemaker. And so I blame that on my innate shoe fetish.
What about the concrete shoes? Did you ever have to make those?
Not yet, but working on that. But yeah, love shoes. I've decided the reason I love them so much more than clothes is because I'm not tall. So shoes I can just buy and they fit. No alterations. That's my excuse anyway.
Nice.
So love people. I love being around people. I guess, you know, in and out of the workplace, I love helping people realise and achieve what's possible. That's the thing that lights me up every day. And cooking, love cooking, as you know. Cooking energises me. I'm not a still person. I always say the most still thing about me is the water I drink. I like to be on the move. I like to be productive. I like to just be experiencing diversity every day, I guess. So that sort of sums me up in a nutshell.
So there you go. Sparkling water, not for Renée. She'll turn it into that way. Yeah. So, Renée, what do you have a pair of your grandfather's shoes? Did you ever get that through? No,
because the war hit, and that's why they had to flee. Or I wouldn't be born. So I didn't get any of the shoes, but something amazing happened last year. One of my cousins, he found this box of stuff, and he found this, I think I shared it with you too a while back, but he found this piece of Perspex, which was his ad for his shoemakers that they used to project up at the cinemas in the 40s.
Wow.
And the coolest thing is my brand colour and my favourite colour since I was 5 is teal, and all the branding is teal. His branding was teal and the same font, which is weird.
That's epic.
It's amazing. And now that shoe shop that wasn't bombed, it was one of the few things still standing. My cousin visited there 4 years ago, and guess what? It's a bookstore. That's pretty cool. So we've just sent, and they knew my dad's side of the family, so we've just sent them my book to range in the bookstore over there. So that's pretty cool.
You talked about connection. No, I'm railroading you, Matt. You talk about connection, like what? Like I find that a very unique word to highlight. What draws you to, I guess, having connection?
Yeah, I love understanding people. I love contributing to others, and I think you can't do that unless you have a connection with something or someone. And yeah, I just love the feeling of meeting other people, whether they're like me or they're not. I've been fascinated by different cultures and what makes people tick since a really young age. Recently found a few like little journals I kept in primary school writing about other people. So I've just always been fascinated by other people and connecting with others. And I just think, I don't know, there's just magic in the differences we all have. And I think, and I love complementing diversity. You know, when I think of the word diversity, I think of motivations, I think of skill, experience, culture, backgrounds. And I think no two people are the same. Nobody is you, and the uniqueness, you cannot tap into that unless you're in deep connection. Yeah.
So you are mad for food. Every time I call you or speak to you, you're getting some sort of delivery, like lobsters from some guy. You've just done some lobster work, or some oysters are flying through, or some pasta. Some guy's always delivering you something for something that you've done as a payment.
5 years, and you just happen to be on the phone.
Pay me in food.
Pay me in food, and I will be happy.
Yeah.
So, what if you could make one dish? If you could make one meal, what would that be? What would be the meal that you would deliver, like a Last Supper, if you will, but for an event, something that you would actually want to leave your mark on? What's the dish that you do the best?
Sri Lankan is my main cuisine I cook. My Sri Lankan
didn't see that one coming. I thought Italian.
I love Italian. Italian's simple. It's all about fresh ingredients. And I do cook a bit of Italian, but no, Sri Lankan. Sri Lankan's my thing. So a Sri Lankan fish curry with a coconut sambal and a mango chutney with coconut and saffron rice would be my go-to. And you're probably going, wow, Sri Lankan. I went out with a Sri Lankan guy for 6 years in my teen years, and his mum had a restaurant. And I always think that was the reason I met him, was to learn how to cook Sri Lankan.
You learned everything and his secrets, and you moved on.
Yeah. Well, he said about my book and everything. He goes, well, what was the gift with us? And I'm like, the cooking. He said, all right.
Well, Ronan, we know who you're going to invite to your next dinner party, because
I invited you, Renee. She couldn't make the previous
one. I was away
when
we could travel.
Yeah.
There you go.
Renee, I want to ask you a little bit about your kind of corporate life, because you used to work at Mars. I see a food connection there as well. And then I would say you went out on your own younger than many people. Not as young as Tony. Tony's never had a real job. So he's never actually worked for someone. He still hasn't, and that's okay. But tell me, what was the inspiration for you to sort of leave Mars and what many would consider a safe job, and go out and be this kind of, I call you a force of nature, be that force of nature in the world that, as I said, sort of creates those programs, helps people sort of connect all those things. What was the inspiration behind that?
Good question. Amazing company. So I was in confectionery 9 years and food 3, marketing, brand management, leadership, mainly sales. And one of my last roles, I had a national team, and it was a pretty tough team, to be honest. It was the gift that kept giving. And I was studying NLP and all these different things, and I helped set up a lot of the internal training, and I just loved it. I felt like I was home, if that makes sense. And at 23 years old at Mars, I had a coach, and I was taught to coach, and I had to coach, which is quite young. And so I'd been around it all, and it wasn't an easy decision, because they're hand on heart, I couldn't be doing what I'm doing now without that experience and just the value set and alignment they had. But I just wanted to work with lots of different businesses. My favourite role ever was setting up the new business channel. So taking chocolate out of traditional grocery and milk bars, which was shutting down then, and putting it in Bunnings and into Flora and the Coke and Mars sleeve. And that was all the stuff I worked on. So I just knew I wanted to work with diverse clients. I've worked with 24 industries to date. I've tried to niche. People are people, I've decided. And I left. And the first 2 years, not many people know this, and I do share a little bit of this in my book, I was really burnt out from the corporate world, and my younger sister was really sick, and a lot of things were happening, and I went into job search for 2 years, so helping work with long-term unemployed that were coming off drugs far north in Australia for 2 weeks at a time for 18 months. I did that, and that was probably the hardest, most challenging but most rewarding thing I've ever done. To have someone say, if I hadn't done this, I was planning not to be here this week, opposed to, oh, thanks, you helped me get my 200 grand pay rise. Still great, but it's a different thing. I did that and then went into full-on coaching and sales training. So I worked in a sales capability company with another guy. And then I just knew about 8 years ago, 6 years in, I was like, human behaviour is what fascinates me. I love sales. I do all my sales. I still do a bit of sales, capability for companies. But my special sauce is around really helping leaders step out of the overwhelm and really go into a leadership mindset, coach others, empower others, and really drive people to do what lights them up opposed to just a job. So we do a lot of different things, but that's the sort of path we've been on, and, love it, love the diversity, a lot of work, we sort of think, sell, deliver. They're the 3 columns in my business, and all of those could be a 90-hour week, each one of those. So I have to have balance across. So, yeah, pretty full on, but all good.
So what was the most interesting person that you've worked with? What did you get in twofold, really? What was the thing that they gave you the most that you took from it, and a different client or different person that you were able to help the most and you saw the biggest change from?
Yeah, probably, I'm not going to name names, but probably a big data company. There's probably 2. So the first one, just quickly, was probably one of the first people I ever coached professionally, paid coaching. And he came in saying he didn't know what sport he wanted to play. And I still remember sitting in my little office at home going, oh my God, I've left a corporate job to coach someone on what sport they want to play. But I knew it was just the layers of the onion. So I peeled that back, took an hour. He went quiet because it went down, why is that a challenge? Well, I don't want to go to work. Why is that a challenge? I don't want to be married. Why is that a challenge? I don't love my wife. And he hung up. I rang my mentor. I'm like, oh my God, I think I've got to go back to Mars. I can't do this. And she said, this will be the best session you've ever done. It's not about you. It's not about kittens and rainbows and them skipping away happy. And to this day, the best group coaching sessions are the ones where people feel pissed off and they're challenged. Anyway, 4 weeks later it took, so I didn't get much sleep. He rang me and he said, thank you, I've left my wife, I'm going to Dubai, I'm creating a new business. And I was like, oh my God, what have I done? To this day, he's still one of my clients. So that would be a real standout. And the lesson in that for me was it's not about them walking away. That was a great session. The best sessions and the best workshops I do are where they're shitty and they're confronted and they're challenging the status quo. And I think that would mirror into some leadership programs I've been doing where people that just didn't have that confidence at mid to senior level have really shone through COVID. I think that resilience and having to step up, seen a lot of people that weren't shining now really in the spotlight and happy and doing what they love. Yeah.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
And finally, as we kind of wrap up, if anyone wants to buy some Harry Potter cards, Renee's show us the book, Renee.
Something like I said earlier.
Yeah. We're doubling up as eBay, so you can also sell, I guess, also selling their wares.
Yeah, we couldn't get any sponsors, so we just put some classifieds at the end.
So Renee, thank you for sharing great insight into the next session. Is going to be all around the gift mindset and WHAM, the 2 things that 2 of the many things that you are working on. So if anyone's got any questions for Renee, want to reach out, leave some messages on whichever platform we put this on, and connect with her on LinkedIn as well. As I said, she's a force of nature. So Renee, thank you for sharing some insights about you as a person today. Appreciate it.
Thanks for having me. It's been fun.
Thanks,
guys. Thank you.